All right, Coach. Made the long trip to Washington, and unfortunately made the long trip back after a 38-21 loss to Central Washington.
Yeah.
Obviously, a hard-fought matchup for both sides. Ranked matchup. You always enjoy those as a coach, but just talk to me about your thoughts. How the team performed on Saturday.
There was times that it was really good. Obviously, not early. Early in the game, we got behind. I think 28-7, and ended up at half, and gave up a touchdown right before halftime that just probably shouldn't have happened on a couple different ways. Offensively, we could have got the clock ran out to get out of that half. But it's one of those things. We went and played a really good football team, and they're good, and they did some things to us, and on offense especially, that they motioned and did some things a little bit different than they've done in the past, and caused us some problems. We felt we made some adjustments at halftime, and you saw that in the second half. In the third quarter, especially, we pulled within a score and had a chance to be in that game. But at the end of the day, there's too many mistakes. Too many. Whether it was a penalty here, it's kind of one of those one step forward, two step back type thing. We, did not play well in special teams. The return game was bad for us in that, and our coverage, we weren't good there, and we had a bad snap on a punt. I shouldn't say bad snap; it was a low snap, and we didn't get the ball punted, and that hurt us. So field position was an issue all day, and I think we had a muffed punt as well. So just some things on special teams that really were uncharacteristic, because we've been very good on special teams this year. So that just kind of all. When good things happened, it was like two negative things right in a row, and so it was just hard to overcome. But one thing I'll say about our guys is I was proud of how they played, because going down 28-7 in a place like that against a team that's top 10 in the country, and they're good, you can roll over, you can lay down a little bit, and they didn't. They fought and stayed in it, and gave us a chance. But at the end of the day, Saturday we got beat by a better team, and they played better than we did, and that's what it came down to.
And going forward, how will these guys regroup after this, and with a few weeks left in the regular season, how will you start to gain that momentum back?
Yeah, you got to win, right? You got to find ways to do that. The good thing is we have good leadership, and our kids, you saw the fight in the second half when we were down 3 scores, and I'm hoping that carries on this week in practice. I think it will. I mean, we got good leadership. At the end of the day, we have a good football team. We're 6-3. I mean, there's a lot of schools that would be happy to be 6-3, and we have the capabilities of winning 2 more football games, but we have the capability of losing 2 more football games, and it depends who shows up, in that part of it. But I think the leadership from within the team, the players, has to stand up, and we as coaches got to do a good job of continuing to prepare our guys. Western Oregon comes in this weekend, and they're sitting at 7-1. They're fighting for their playoff lives. They have 2 more Division II games between us and Central Wash, and they got an opportunity to make the playoffs and do some things. So they're going to be excited to play, but our kids will be too. It's getting our guys focused and locked in. We have senior day on Saturday, so playing for those guys and playing for basically like understanding that this place wins football games, and we need to continue to prepare and do things that we've done in the past. And if we can do that and stay focused, I think we'll be okay. But it's a matter of the leadership stepping up on both the coaching staff as well as our players, and practicing well this week.
And what's the biggest adjustment, your biggest takeaway from Central Washington? What's the biggest adjustment you'll be addressing in practice this week?
Well, I mean, we got to get healthy. That's one thing that will help. Hopefully we can get some guys back that will help. It was a physical game on Saturday. The guys that did play, we got some guys banged up, and guys that didn't play, hopefully get some of them back here this week. We'll see how that goes. But, the biggest thing is just clean up the special teams. That was something, again, I go back to that. That was something that, if you look at like total offense in that game, it wasn't too far off between what we had. You look at the hidden yards and return game, and that you're talking drastic numbers. So that's something we have to get better at. And we've been blessed with what we've had here in the special teams, and Stefan, our kicker, Forbes, has done an unbelievable job, and he didn't have the best night for him. And guys are going to have that. You don't play your best every single night, so it's not on him, but it's on special teams as a unit. When we don't punt as well. We got to cover better, and we got to do some different things there. So, and that, it comes down to that, cleaning up our special teams, getting back on track there, and then, continue to tackle and block and all the things you talk about, week to week to get better at. But those are the biggest things I'd like to see. And then the pride, of continuing to fight and play and seeing that in practice, that's something we'll continue to ramp up in competition as well.
Coach, you set the standard so incredibly high here at this program. And I think the fans and students, I think we've all gotten a little bit spoiled just because of the success that the Rams had in the past. What is your message to the guys when they're not quite hitting that mark?
Yeah.
Because like you said, this is still a really good football team.
Yeah.
It's just like not what it's been in the past.
It's a good question. And what I'll say, how to answer that is basically you got to play your best each and every week. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you got to understand that this game is hard. It's hard to win college football games. It's hard to win college any games in what you do, what you got to prepare and how you do it. But you look at a football season, and I've talked about this before, it's 11 games. Coach Patel was just up here and he talked about playing 31 games. Well, you got some wiggle room in 31 games on things. You do not have wiggle room in 11 in football, and that's hard. So, it's just talking about the urgency of playing. Compared talent-wise, this group compared to other ones we've had in the past, they're very comparable. I mean, it's a good football team, and one of my former coaches that I played for in high school, Rick Hendricks was his name. He talks about, football's a tough game, and the ball sometimes it bounces your way and sometimes it doesn't, and it's not been bouncing our way sometimes, and it's shaped funny. It doesn't just bounce right up to you like a basketball does, and sometimes it bounces your way and sometimes it doesn't, but you got to make your breaks a little bit too. And so just telling them to keep fighting and keep working hard. Trusting the process, because what we have done has been proven to be successful. So we have to stay the course and go. And if we do that and we can win some more football games here at the end, we can feel good about where we're at and continue the process of getting better in the off season and doing all those types of things. But to me, we're going to focus on this week and against a tough Western Oregon football team. There's a lot of similarities with them in Central Washington. They're going to line up and run the ball right downhill at you quite a bit and do some stuff. So we'll have to pick up the run defense a little bit more this week. But just keeping them on course and making them understand. And it is a process, and we just got to keep working that process.
Speaking of Western Oregon, Coach, what is the key to victory this weekend?
Definitely stop the run. I mean, they're going to line up and they're going to run power. They're going to run counter. All the things that 12 personnel teams do. They're a 12 and 11 personnel team, and so they're going to play with tight ends on the field. So stopping the run, and then I think on offense, they're one of those teams that are going to clutter the box up, and you're going to have to throw it a little bit with it. So being able to do that is pass protect well and do some things there. We're still going to be able to run the football, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to throw it a little bit too with there's 7 or 8 guys in the tackle box. So we'll have to figure that out as we move forward. It's Monday, so we're going to continue to work on film this week and see what it goes. But getting back to playing good football, blocking and tackling are the two biggest things, and continue to play well that we have up till last week, and the special teams are going to be huge. They're very good on special teams. They do some great things. They blocked a lot of punts this year. They got one against us 2 years ago out of their place. So they do some good things, and again, they're well coached. So those are the biggest things. But it really doesn't change a lot in the sense of like we got to focus on us and get our guys playing at the level that we're expected to play at. And if we do that, we have chances to win football games. If we don't, we're going to be in battles.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
You bet. Thanks, guys.